ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णभक्ता हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु वन्दे गोपेशं तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृषभानुसुते प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमः। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare. So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, text number, Canto 3, chapter 25, text number 29. Yo yogo bhagavad bhano nirvanat mamstvayoditaha kidrisha kati changani yatastatva vabodhana. Yo yogo bhagavad bhano nirvanat mamstvayoditaha kidrisha kati changani yatastatva vabodhana. Yo Nirvana Kidrisha Kati Changami Yatastatva Vabodhana. Yaha, which yoga, mystic yoga process, Bhagavad Bhana, aiming at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nirvana, Atman, O embodiment of Nirvana. Tvaya, by you. Uditaha, explained. Kidrishaha, of what nature. Kati, how many. Cha, and Angani, branches. Yataha, by which. Tattva, of the truth. Avabodhanam, understanding. Translation purport by Divine Vishita Abhay Charanand Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada. The mystic yoga system, as you explained, aims at the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is meant for completely ending material existence. Please let me know the nature of the yoga system. How many ways are there by which one can understand in truth that sublime yoga? Purport by Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are different kinds of mystic yoga systems aiming for different phases of the absolute truth. The Jnana Yoga system aims at the impersonal Brahman effulgence, and the Hatha Yoga system aims at the localized personal aspect. The Paramatma feature of the absolute truth, whereas Bhakti Yoga or devotional service, which is executed in 9 different ways, headed by hearing and chanting, aims at complete realization of the Supreme Lord. There are different methods of self-realization, but here Devabhuti especially refers to the Bhakti Yoga system, which has already been primarily explained by the Lord. The different parts of the Bhakti Yoga system are hearing, chanting, remembering, offering prayers, worshipping the Lord in the temple, accepting service to Him, carrying out His orders, making friendship with Him, and ultimately surrendering everything for the service of the Lord. The word Nirvanatman is very significant in this verse. Unless one accepts the process of devotional service, one cannot end the continuation of material existence. As far as Jnanis are concerned, they are interested in Jnana Yoga. But even if one elevates oneself after a great performance of austerity to the Brahman effulgence, there is a chance of falling down again to the material world. Therefore, Jnana Yoga does not actually end material existence. Similarly, regarding the Hatha Yoga system, which aims at the localized personal aspect, the Paramatma feature of the Hatha Yoga system, which aims at the localized aspect of, but Bhakti yogis, once approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, never come back to this material world as it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Yat Gatvana Nivartante, upon going, one never comes back. Chaktva, he never comes back again to accept a material body. Nirvana does not finish the existence of the soul. The soul is ever existing. Therefore, nirvana means to end one's material existence. And to end material existence means to go back home, back to God. Sometimes it is asked how the living entity falls down to this from the spiritual world to the material world. Here is the answer. Unless one is elevated to the Vaikuntha planets, directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is prone to fall down, either from the impersonal Brahman realization or from an ecstatic trance of meditation. Another word in this verse, Bhagavad Varna, is very significant. Varna means arrow. The Bhakti Yoga system is just like an arrow aiming after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Bhakti Yoga system never urges one towards the impersonal Brahman effulgence or to the point of Paramatma realization. This barn or arrow is so sharp and swift that it goes directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, penetrating the regions of impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma. Again, Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. मुखम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघयते गिरिम यत्कृपा तमहम वंदे शिवगुरुम दीनतारिणम परमानंद माधवम श्री चैतन्येश्वरम. So, very wonderful purport by Srila Prabhupada. So, we are very fortunate that we have a Srila Prabhupada. Let's just consider some, before we go deeply into the verse, let's just consider how special is Srila Prabhupada. Many times we are so much lost in the process that we forget the person. Bhakti Yoga is not process oriented, it's person oriented actually. If you see, Bhakti means person oriented, and that's why Guru is the most important thing, right? So, more important than Shastra is Guru Vani, because Shastra is on absolute platform, Shuddha Sattva platform, and those who can actually read Shastra and take help from Shastra, those who are pure devotees only. I'm speaking about even Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, but only by the mercy of the pure devotee. The pure devotee brings Shastra to our platform of understanding. So, Srila Prabhupada is so merciful. Why is Srila Prabhupada so merciful? Because Srila Prabhupada has given us so many different ways to get mercy, including prasada. Because when we start very scrutinizingly, when we start thinking about how we can make progress in Krishna consciousness, then many times we become very, can say, depressed, honestly. Especially if you read books like Madhurya Kadambini, speaking about the different types of anartha, different types of offenses. It's so scrutinizingly, everything is said. After that, sometimes you become a little depressed or a little demotivated that, wow, this is like a huge mountain. It's like a Kurukshetra war, I have to fight to come out of anartha and everything. So this is natural reaction of a devotee. So what is situation of a practicing struggling sadhaka? Situation of struggling practicing sadhaka. Shri Radha Gopi Janavallabh. Shri Radha Gopi Janavallabh Daivatani Gaurave Guru Shila Prabhupada. So the practice of a struggling sadhaka, I mean the situation of struggling sadhaka, is just like His Holiness Saladar Maharaj gave this example. It's just like a mother of a thief. So the mother of a thief, if she cries in public, everyone will laugh at her. Your son is a thief. Why are you crying? Go and tell him to change his habit. So the way she has to cry, she has to lock the door when nobody else is there and she can cry because she cannot do anything about it. Her son is the way she is, and she is unable to change him. So our situation in Bhakti Yoga is like that. Because when spiritual problems come in our spiritual life, we cannot solve those problems. We cannot solve those problems. Only Krishna and Krishna's devotees can solve such problems. So that's why Bhakti Yoga is actually a process of crying for the mercy of the Lord, constantly crying. So, Srila Prabhupada, understanding our fallen situation, he has given us so many different kinds of engagements. That's his causeless mercy. He knows. So, even including prasadam, including association of devotees, including deity darshan, including deity worship, paying obeisances, doing kirtan, whatever, doing arti, every single aspect counts. And there's a saying that success, 90% of success is showing up. So if we just show up to Srila Prabhupada's program sincerely, trying our best, actually, my personal experience in Krishna consciousness is that Krishna only wants to see one thing, how much you're trying. Even if you fail, it's completely okay. But Krishna just wants to see how much you're trying. If you're really trying your level best, hmm, means trying to utilize all your time in Krishna's service, and Krishna will, even you may commit so many offenses because the mind may be under rested or disturbed or due to whatever reason, but Krishna will protect, Guru will protect. So this is our great fortune that Srila Prabhupada has made so many wonderful arrangements. So all we have to do is we have to become very, very eager to grab the mercy. So I was hearing a very wonderful lecture repeating Srila Prabhupada's words coming on purification. Srila Prabhupada said that the most important thing in devotional service is eagerness. Eagerness. And when we have that eagerness, eagerness, the advanced aspect of eagerness is greed. Greed means, the ultimate aspect of greed means surrender. Surrender. So, bhakti is a process of surrender. Real bhakti, real devotion is not done by the devotee. It is done by the Swarup Shakti of the Lord. So all the devotee has to do basically is to surrender. So in the conditioned stage, surrender is difficult, is forced. Speak for myself, in the liberated stage, surrender is spontaneous, and that's why there's no problem. So this surrender is a very important point. So what is greed? Greed means that I don't, doesn't matter how I feel, how is my whatever condition, but I will serve Krishna anyway. Why will I serve Krishna? Because Krishna will derive some benefit from my service, Guru will derive some benefit from my service, and Krishna's enjoyment will increase a little bit. And that little bit, even that little increase in enjoyment, Krishna's enjoyment, is so valuable for us. Like, think about the gopis. The gopis, they, in the spiritual world, their sentiment is to relieve Krishna's headache. They are willing to go to hell for eternity. So that's the value of Krishna's pleasure. So, what does it mean to be a servant? What does it mean to be a servant? Three things. Saladha Master is very nice. First thing is you have to depend. First thing you have to depend. Second thing is your service should not have any motivation, should not ask for anything behind your service. I mean, sometimes when we are trying to do Guru and Krishna service, sometimes there is some anxiety we may ask, like for example, say, suppose a visa of one of our devotees is running out, they have to leave the country. Like Krishna, please help him. He has to leave the country and he's so nicely engaging in your service. Sometimes we pray like that when it's dire situation. So second is, but first is to depend. Second is no motivation in such seva. And third is loving service, rendering loving service. Loving service. So these three things make one a servant. So when you have this mood, then you can be called a servant. So it's very wonderful. This process of Krishna consciousness helps us to develop this mood of a servant. So the more and more we develop this mood of a servant of Krishna and Krishna's devotees, the more and more we're making advancement. So coming back to my point, so what Krishna wants to see is Krishna just wants to see whether we have this eagerness to serve him. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, when we have this intense eagerness to serve Krishna, which means we serve Krishna whether we feel good, we don't feel good, whether whatever, like Krishna's happiness is our consideration. So when we have that kind of mood, then Prabhupada says that we are automatically enriched by Gyan, knowledge, and renunciation. So the way to get knowledge and renunciation is basically, in Srila Prabhupada's words, to develop intense eagerness and greed for devotional service. So Prabhupada said it doesn't matter, whatever may be the reason, but if you just develop this deep desire to see Krishna, to see Krishna, then Prabhupada says just that eagerness, by that eagerness, intense eagerness, you can see Krishna eye to eye in this life. Prabhupada says in that lecture. At the end of this class, I will share that lecture on the chat. It's very wonderful. And it's a very short 17-minute lecture, but it's very inspiring. So anyway, so the point is that this dependence, this not asking for anything, and rendering loving service is very important. So we have to at least put Guru and Krishna on the platform of love. What does it mean to put Guru and Krishna on the platform of love? It means that, see, we all have a tendency to expect some appreciation, some acceptance from someone, right? Like for example, when we are sick, we may think that, oh, our family, they should take care of us. Or sometimes we are not doing good, we go home, our family, they cook something nice for us. We think like that, right? So basically that same mood we have to develop with Krishna. So see, the only desire of a devotee is to experience Krishna's uh, loving reciprocation. And what is the perfection? There is one very wonderful devotee, Chowpatty Temple. His name is, I'm forgetting his name. Very wonderful devotee. Lot of taste and chanting the holy name. So yeah, so he says that what is required, what is a perfection of life for a devotee? The perfection of life for a devotee is that his service is accepted by Krishna. So what does it mean for our service to be actually accepted by Krishna? It means that Krishna reciprocates, um, as gives some loving reciprocation. So, I mean, Krishna and Krishna's devotees, they give some loving reciprocation. Like, I mean, for example, when a devotee takes darshan of the Lord, he's like, wow, the Lord is, Krishna is looking so beautiful. That's Krishna's reciprocation. You can actually feel that, wow, Krishna is so happy, so joyful. Krishna is looking with so much love and affection. If you can actually have the genuine feeling in your heart, not mental, not but actually it's there in your heart, then that is Krishna's reciprocation. Taste in the holy name is Krishna's reciprocation. When devotees bless us, that is Krishna's reciprocation. So, if we have this intense eagerness to serve Krishna, just somehow or other, then that gives rise to renunciation, that gives rise to knowledge. So, what we need, all we need in bhakti is we need somehow or other to catch up this intense eagerness to serve Krishna. And one great fortune we have is again, Prabhupada is such a so loving and such a genius that he created a society. And naturally, right in a society, different devotees will be on different platforms. So we always have someone who is more advanced, someone who is more exalted than us. We are so fortunate, like the way Prabhu is there. Like he has such taste in Krishna consciousness, so we can always take shelter of his taste, of his advancement. And similarly, many devotees are there, like Sri Loinanand Prabhu or the Prabhu, they have such taste. So we can always take shelter of that. And by that, we can develop this intense eagerness, intense eagerness. So this is the secret of success in Krishna consciousness. Whether you may be hearing, you may be chanting, you may be whatever you're doing, but this when you have this intense eagerness that somehow or other, I want this. It doesn't matter. I'm willing to pay any price, but please give me this. Please give me. I don't want anything else. I don't want anything else. So when we have this, this is called mamatva. Mamatva means minus. So when we actually accept that Krishna is mine, Krishna is mine, and we develop the deep desire that, my desire is by my activities, I want to glorify Krishna. I want to glorify Shrimati Radharani. So when we have this intense desire to develop love for them and love for, of course, God Nitai, uh, when we have this intense eagerness, then they will do everything. They will do everything. So, and like I mentioned, bhakti is about surrender. Bhakti means simply whatever situation is, you accept it. My spiritual master said was something very wonderful that a devotee, speaking about Srimad Bhagavatam, I mean the section about the Pandavas, that a devotee accepts whatever situation comes in his life, and he just accepts the situation to make spiritual advancement. So he doesn't argue with the situation, he doesn't try to artificially change the situation. And a devotee never tries to establish himself, but he always tries to establish the Supreme Lord. That is a mode of a devotee. So, coming back to this purport here. So, now I will take another aspect of this purport, which is very, very wonderful. So, see, in Krishna consciousness, what is Krishna consciousness? What is God conscious? I mean, sorry, Krishna consciousness. It means that simply we have to develop our love for Krishna. So, just for the sake of understanding, whether you're a brahmachari or a grihastha, whether you eat cake or you don't eat cake, whether you're austere or you eat opulently, whether you wear expensive clothes or you dress simply, see, these are all ultimately external. Ultimately, they are external. The only thing which actually matters is actually our intense eagerness to serve Krishna. And once we acquire this intense eagerness to serve Krishna, then everything else will go in the background. Like our acharyas say, even the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, every we speak about that, Vacha Vega, Manasa Vega, we're always stuck behind that. Oh, how do I control my mind? How do I control my speech? So it is important. But ultimately, our acharyas say, controlling your senses is not bhakti. It's not bhakti. Bhakti means to engage in the service of the Lord. And that's why here Vishwamitra fell down. Why? Because he was the kind of yoga that Vishwamitra, even Saubhari, these great yogis, that's why Prabhupada used the word yogi. So these yogis, they are not performing devotional service the way we are performing devotional service. Mm. They are not living the association of devotees, they are not serving devotees, they are not uh, personally serving the Supreme Lord, they're just meditating. Meditating is a very difficult process, and they will perform great austerity, etc. etc. But you see, on one hand, Vishwamitra and Saubhari, they fell down. But on the other hand, you see Kala Krishna Das, even though he fell down, still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rescued him and he continued to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is a great benefit of devotional service. So that's why instead of focusing on these aspects of how to control the mind, how to control the senses, because the problem is when we focus so much on external things, then the pride naturally comes in the heart. Oh, I control my senses. Oh, I'm eating very austerely. One time I was telling one very exalted devotee, Prabhuji, uh, he was saying that you are very austere. I said, no, Prabhu, it's not a big deal. He even said, don't become proud. Don't become proud. You know, what is the value of your austerity? What is the value of your austerity? So ultimately, it has no value. And those who are doing austerity, those who are whatever, they should think in their heart, I am very fallen. I am doing this because if I don't do this, I cannot practice Krishna consciousness. Similarly, those who are living in the temple, we should think, why I'm living in the temple? Because I need this situation to practice Krishna consciousness. I cannot stay outside the material world. I cannot practice. I'm so fallen. I cannot have a family. I cannot have children. I'm not so powerful. I'm not so powerful against material energy. So therefore, I am rendering devotional service. The temple. We should think like that. So otherwise, it will result in pride, unnecessary pride. And if we become proud of it, Krishna will give us that also. Krishna will give us a lot of renunciation. But what's the value of the renunciation? What's the value of the renunciation? Renunciation only has value um, in the sadhana stage, in the Vaidhi Bhakti stage. But if you meet a real devotee will never be impressed by your renunciation. Just like it's a famous example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this Brahmana, this very simple Brahmana who was drinking milk. Mahaprabhu was not impressed by him, was not impressed by his austerity, but Mahaprabhu was very impressed by his humility. After Mahaprabhu said that you're not qualified, um, he became very humble. And he said, yes, I am not qualified, but just for having this audience with you this time, I am prepared to go through anything in my life, and my life is successful now because I've seen you. So Mahaprabhu was very happy because of his humility. So, bhakti is about developing love for Krishna. Bhakti is not about doing austerities. Bhakti is not about being brahmachari, grahastha. These are all external things. And a real devotee does not derive happiness in these external things. A real devotee, I'm not a real devotee, but a real devotee develops happiness in Shinmanti, Grinanti, in hearing, in chanting, remembering, like this. Devotee becomes very happy in that way. So ultimately, a devotee's life is simply to develop love for Krishna, intense um, love for Krishna. So when we can develop love for the divine couple, in the sadhana stage, love means the desire to intensely serve them, to give them pleasure. Like, if at least if we are willing to do anything in our heart, okay, we consider that we know that Radha Gopishna Vallabh or Nitya Bhajan Gaurari, we know that we cannot actually see them, we cannot actually deal with them like the eternal associates do. But at least in our heart, if we have a mentality that yes, I would do anything to make them smile, I would do anything to make them happy. So if we think like that, So that's the beginning of developing our love for them. Very simple, very simple. So as long as we are conscious and we're trying to develop our love for them under any circumstance, then that is the correct mentality of a devotee. That is the correct mentality of a devotee. So otherwise, many times we can become caught up in so many external things. So this bhana is very important. Like those of us who chant Gayatri, we in the last Gayatri, it is spoken, right? How Krishna actually releases flower arrows. How Krishna is the Cupid, the real Cupid. So this is the goal of our life, actually, to become attacked or to become conquered by Krishna's flower arrows. So Krishna has five aspects, five different arrows, like his eyes, his his glance, his smell, his touch, his taste, and what did I miss out? His sound, his smell, his touch, his taste, and what is it? And his glance. Yes, his glance. So these five arrows Krishna has, and the goal of devotional service is to be conquered by these five arrows. So from our side, we have a desire to offer our love to Krishna, and in return, we have a desire to be conquered by Krishna. So this is the goal of our life, the simple goal of our life. And if we simply follow in the footsteps of our previous acharyas and pray, and we should have this one prayer. This is very important for every disciple. The disciple should, his goal of life should be to make his heart one with the heart of his guru. So if you simply have that desire that I want my heart to become one with the heart of Guru and Srila Prabhupada, then they will bestow their mercy. Like one time, my spiritual master said, the only business of the disciple is hold on to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, and the rest will happen. So as long as we're trying our level best, actually, the more and more we face difficulties in our life, spiritual life, it means more and more Krishna will come in our life naturally. So that's why always having anxiety to please Guru and Krishna is very, very important for us. Because when we have anxiety, when we have problem, then we'll pray, we'll cry. So that's what Krishna wants. That's what we want. So in that way, as we keep practicing devotional service, then we can actually develop feelings for the Supreme Lord. The goal of devotional service is to develop feelings. So how we'll develop feelings? When we follow this simple process, we depend, when we surrender, when we don't ask for anything material from Krishna, and the third is when we render loving service. Loving service means basically being personal. Like, okay, you're offering obeisances to Krishna. So you offer with full heart. You're cooking for Krishna, cook with full heart. You're cutting fruits for Krishna, cut properly, make juice properly. Don't do anything haphazardly. Do with detail. Do with as much love as you can. So that's what it means to develop our love for Krishna is very simple. Whatever you do it with in the best possible way you can. That's what it is. So Prabhupada said that, I'll end with one Prabhupada quote. Prabhupada said that everyone has some extraordinary talent, and engaging that extraordinary talent in the service of Krishna is a success of life. So we all have some talent. So if we simply engage that talent in serving Krishna sincerely, our life will become successful, and in that way, our love for Krishna will develop. So that's why it's very important to associate with devotees so that we always have a chance, we always have the opportunity to actually render devotional service. And see, initially we may think that, oh, backup is a low service, DT worship is a high service. But then later, as we advance, we see that everything counts. Every small thing in bhakti counts. Everything is valuable. So we'd like to utilize every opportunity to make advancement in our spiritual life. Even offering obeisances is so valuable. Even smelling the tulsi, smelling the tulsi is very valuable. Everything is valuable. Everything counts in Krishna consciousness. So I would like to end here. Please forgive me if I spoke anything wrong or inappropriate, very fallen, and only by the mercy of all the devotees I am able to continue. So please bless me. Anyone has any question or comment?
Prabhu, thank you so much. Like every day, it's a wonderful class. I like the points which you started with talking about Srila Prabhupada, what is his contribution in our life. I like that point which you talked about. Without Guru, it's very difficult to actually, or Guru or Sadhu, it's very difficult to actually understand Shastra. I like that point. I also like the point which you talked about, specifically the service. Talking about pleasing the Guru and Vaishnavas is very important. I also like the point which you talked about renunciation is external, or doing other things are external. It is about the intention. And I just want to share one thing on that. It was last Sunday. um, there was some conversation going on between Bhagavatacharya, myself, and some other devotee on some external thing. And I was just arguing Prabhuji, no, Prabhu, this is how it should be. He said just one line. I'm still contemplating on that. Prabhu, this is all external, it is all about intention. So immediately when you shared that point, I just remember that. But really grateful to you for wonderful points there, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Anyone else has any question or comment?
It was a super inspiring and hope-giving class today. It's like something to actually go back and hear the class again. There are so many simple points that help us to go deeper in our sadhana. Very grateful, Prabhuji. Very, very grateful. Thank you so much.
What are the 5 arrows again? So one thing just for everyone online, I shared that wonderful class of Srila Prabhupada on the chat. So please share that and please share that. It's very valuable. Actually, we have no idea how fortunate we are to hear Srila Prabhupada. We are very fortunate. And like Prabhupada's mercy, Prabhupada's love, you can feel in the lecture how Prabhupada is giving so much compassion, so much love to all the devotees. See, it's like a treasure online, if you want, if you want some inspiration, Prabhupada's Bhagavatam classes. If you want just some loving exchange, you feel like you want to have some emotional loving exchange with Prabhupada, here the arrival address. Here the arrival address. Like Prabhupada is speaking, he's telling so innocently, like a child, he's telling, oh, so now I will go here, I'll go there, this is my plan. It's like a small child is telling. So much simplicity, so much affection Prabhupada is saying. So if you have some desire to have some loving reciprocation, you can hear Prabhupada's arrival address, departure address also. And then if you want to hear some stories, Prabhupada's Krishna book is there. So many wonderful stories also there of Prabhupada, short stories, so heart touching. Prabhupada is speaking about so many stories. So wonderful mixed with Prabhupada. So let's take advantage of Srila Prabhupada. That is our greatest treasure. And we have a great responsibility to give this legacy of Srila Prabhupada. See, who is the center of this institution, Srila Prabhupada? But if you if someone just sees him as an institutional head, how Prabhupada, what is Prabhupada's personality, how loving, how affectionate he is, it's very important. It's very important. Many times we say Guru means instruction, yes, but at the same time, Guru has a personality. if it's just about instruction, then Guru could have just written books and said, you just read the books. No, but Guru came to this world. Why? So that we can develop love for him. That's very important. It's very important to become attracted to him. So when we carry this legacy of Prabhupada to the next generation, then only the next generation of devotees, they will actually develop this love for Prabhupada. And only if they develop love for Prabhupada, they will cooperate, this institution will stay together. Otherwise, if there is no love for Srila Prabhupada, then institution will ultimately break apart. That everyone will say, oh, this is my guru, this, that. So it's very important to carry this legacy to the next generation. Like, just think about it. Like, our spiritual master gave us so many things, but one thing that all of the spiritual masters give us is their intense love for Srila Prabhupada. Intense love for Prabhupada. Like His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj is hearing that he hears that Vandeham record. He has been hearing every day, first thing in the morning for the last 40 years. See how much love they have for Prabhupada. How much love. You see, my spiritual master, so many times when he was taking prasad, I saw he was just closing his eyes, hearing Prabhupada. So we have to carry this to the next generation, and we have to give this greed, this eagerness to hear Prabhupada. We have to, give this to the next generation, give this to the Bhakti Vriksha devotees, and etc. Because Srila Prabhupada, what Srila Prabhupada has given is very special. See, Prabhupada is, on one hand, Prabhupada is very loving, very caring. Prabhupada is very inspiring, and in some cases, Prabhupada is very heavy also. That's also very important for people to hear. If we say, people may not be able to take, but if Prabhupada says, people will take. Like, just for the sake of mentioning, the other day, my His Grace Ravindra Prabhu was telling me, there's one Hindi lecture of Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was saying that I'll just say in Hindi and then translate to English. जो भी पुस्तक पढ़ के भगवान को समझ में नहीं आता है, वो पुस्तक को लात मार के फेंको. So Prabhupada said that whatever books you read and you don't come to the understanding that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, just kick those books and throw them out. So it seems very heavy, right? But when Prabhupada says, it carries so much affection, so much compassion. And it's very important for people to hear these things, especially for the kids. It's very important for them to hear Prabhupada. It's very important for them to hear. Even if they don't understand a single word, they must hear Prabhupada. They must hear Prabhupada. Why? Because they become attached. They become attached. And see, Prabhupada is so wonderful. On one hand, Prabhupada will speak these strong words. Prabhupada may make us renounce things also, but on the other hand, Prabhupada will give us so much love. Like I was giving the other week, I was speaking how Prabhupada just spoke one line. Prabhupada said what? That this tennis is just mine. And I gave up tennis, but I did feel the heaviness of giving it up. Why? Because Prabhupada reciprocated in a different way. Prabhupada reciprocated in a different way to me, and that's why I felt so comforted that I didn't realize this hole was there in my life. So yeah, it's very important for us to, we have to first of all hear Prabhupada, we have to read Prabhupada's books. Speaking to myself, I myself don't read every day regularly, but we have to read, we have to study Prabhupada's books very scrutinizingly, and we have to hear Prabhupada's lectures. And in this way, we should present Prabhupada. Like when people come to the temple, we should tell them about Srila Prabhupada. When yesterday one person came to the temple, I was telling him about Krishna. He is not interested. Zero. Then I took him to Prabhupada. I said he came to America at the age of 70. He did no reaction. He had 3 heart attacks on the way. Wow, some reaction. Then after that, 108 temples, no reaction. He, what is that? He wrote 17 books, even more reaction, more impressed. So we should take great pride. We should be proud. And we should take great pride in telling about Prabhupada to others. Like, we may not have that intense love for Krishna, but at least we start with Srila Prabhupada. And our spiritual master will be so happy because that's the goal of their life. They want to broadcast the glories of Srila Prabhupada. And that person, so heart touching. He took a flower and he offered to Srila Prabhupada. He bowed down to Srila Prabhupada. He didn't bow down to Krishna. I asked him to bow down, but he was not. But he bowed down to Srila Prabhupada. So that going down to Prabhupada is going to save him. He is going to save him from the greatest danger. So this is We're so fortunate to have such a Srila Prabhupada. We can also see Prabhupada's memories sometimes, Prabhupada's pastime. So attractive. So attractive. I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that. So he was asking, Ravinandan Prabhu was asking, what are the 5 arrows? So Krishna's glance, Krishna's lotus eyes is glance, Krishna's voice, Krishna's smell, Krishna's touch, and the taste. So the taste of Krishna is coming in the form of prasadam. So yeah, these are the 5. So we're very fortunate, and let's carry this fortune to everyone. And anyone has any last question or comment? Okay, we will end here. Please forgive me if I spoke anything wrong and inappropriate. We're all more advanced than me, more sincere and dedicated than me. Please pray that I can dedicate my life for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyeva Vaitana pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo Antakoti Vaishnav Digvijaya Srila Prabhupada. Hare
His grace Sham Kishore Prabhu ki jai. Thank you,
जय
Prabhu.
Krishna.
धन्यवाद